will cover all, from expressions to adjectives and verbs, to express your feelings in French. Because trust me, I know how frustrating it is to not be able to express yourself in your second language. Before we dive into the actual words that we'll use to describe how we feel, let's go over 3 verbs that you'll use most when describing your emotions. The first is être, which is probably the easiest to use, and it's typically followed by adjectives, which a lot of these emotion words are. The next is se sentir. Notice that with the verb sentir, it means to feel things physically, to touch things, or to smell things. So you must add se sentir to describe that you're talking about your emotions. Think of it as sentir is used for external feelings, while se sentir is used for internal feelings. Make sure that the pronoun se is agreeing with the speaker or the subject of the sentence. So je me sens versus tu te sens. Finally, you'll hear some expressions using avoir, and you probably already know a few, like avoir faim ou soif to say you're hungry or thirsty. You should remember that some of these words will require a gender agreement. Content, contente. Content is a simple way of saying that you're feeling good and you're happy, and you can use it in the sentence like Je suis très content d'être ici. De bonne humeur. This is a good way to say that you're in a good mood today, and it doesn't have anything to do with the English word humor.
Et du coup, aujourd'hui, bien sûr, je vais parler comment être de bonne humeur, parce que vous me demandez souvent, mais oh, comment tu fais pour être de bonne humeur? Et du coup, je vais vous dévoiler un peu mes petits secrets. Allez, allez.
To go along with that, you may add je suis heureux ou heureuse to say I'm happy. And if you need something that's even more happy and delighted, like for example, you're on vacation and you're just so happy to be on vacation, you can use ravi. Je suis ravi d'être en vacances. En bonne santé. Être en bonne santé means to be in good health, and it's likely that you'll use this with people you haven't seen in a while. Whether it's to tell them you're in good health, or to tell them j'espère que tu es en bonne santé. To make this a little more fun, at the end of each section, I'll include a fun idiomatic expression. Our first one, avoir la patate ou avoir la pêche. These are both ways of saying that you're full of energy and really happy. And I know la patate part is a little counterintuitive in English, but think of avoir la pêche like we say I'm feeling peachy in English. Moving on to negative emotions, triste means sad. And I know a lot of English speakers tend to use upset or unhappy instead of using the word sad, but triste is a perfectly common word used in the French language. Malade. Malade means sick, and going back to the verbs that we talked about in the beginning, you can say je suis malade to express that you are sick, or articulate je me sens malade to say you're feeling a little under the weather. Se sentir mal. If you want something more general, you can use se sentir mal to describe that you're generally feeling off or sick. Par exemple, je me sens mal à cause des médicaments. Se sentir seul. This is a case where the verb that you use with the word actually does matter. Être seul is to describe your physical state of being. Par exemple, je suis seul aujourd'hui, il n'y a personne à la maison. But if you're feeling lonely, you need to say se sentir seul. Je me sens seul. Énervé. See the word nerve in the middle of this word? Énervé is perfect when you're annoyed and someone is just getting on your nerves. Inquiet, inquiète, to be worried. Notice that in the spelled version, only inquiète has accent grave on the i, and this does change the pronunciation. Inquiet versus inquiète. Par exemple, je suis inquiet parce que ma sœur n'est pas encore là. The verb s'ennuyer, bored. This one I find quite funny because it means to bore oneself. In French, you can't just be bored. You have to be boring yourself. Aujourd'hui, je m'ennuie parce que mon coloc est sorti. Je suis en colère. Je suis fâché, angry. It's really up to your personal preference which one of these you use, but if you'd like to say that someone is making you angry, use the construction mettre en colère. For example, tu me mets en colère. You're making me angry. If you need an even more intense expression to express your anger, you can use devenir chèvre. Make sure you only use this with informal company, maybe with your friends, but not so much at work. Becoming a goat, I don't really know where these expressions come from, but devenir chèvre means to become really, really angry. If you want to get better at forming sentences with these words and expressing your emotions more clearly in French, you should check out FluentU. FluentU is an interactive language learning platform which uses real-world videos in order to teach you French. Each word comes with sample sentences, a video dictionary, and pronunciation guides, as well as quizzes and other fun activities so that you can hear each word in context and really learn to speak like a native. There's a link to a free trial in the description, so be sure to check it out and give your French a boost. There's also a plethora of expressions that use avoir to express sentiments. Avoir peur means to be afraid, and this can be used in both an infinitive form as well as a conjugated form. Par exemple, j'ai peur des fantômes. But you can also say, ce n'est pas nécessaire d'avoir peur des fantômes. Avoir honte, to be ashamed. Notice that this is a little bit distinctive from to be embarrassed, which would be gêné. Par exemple, j'ai honte de mes notes. Avoir mal à. This is used for when something physically hurts, like j'ai mal au genou, my knees hurt, or j'ai mal à la tête, I have a headache. Make sure you modify the à with whatever you're saying. Par exemple, la tête is feminine, so you say mal à la tête, but les genoux are plural, so à plus les makes au, j'ai mal au genou. If it was something masculine like le bras, you would say j'ai mal au bras. However, if you add a du in between this phrase, avoir du mal, it becomes to have trouble with something. Par exemple, j'ai du mal avec les devoirs. I know it can be a little bit difficult to remember this distinction, so think of it like this. Avoir du mal is with something you're doing. Avoir le cafard means to have the cockroach, literally, but it actually means to be feeling down or upset, or feeling blue as we say in English. I know I'd be pretty upset if I found cockroaches around me. Surpris, surprise, et étonné. These are both ways of saying that you're surprised or astonished, and in general they're interchangeable synonyms. Mal compris, avoir du mal à comprendre. If you're feeling confused about something, don't make the mistake of saying je suis confus. This actually translates to being distressed. Instead, try any of these constructions. Je n'ai pas compris or j'ai pas compris to say I didn't understand. J'ai du mal à comprendre, I'm having trouble understanding. Or j'ai mal compris, I misunderstood. Fatigué. If you're finishing up a long workday or perhaps did a lot of exercise, you may say je suis fatigué, I'm tired. Épuisé is used for when fatigué just won't cut it. Maybe you're in the process of moving or you just haven't gotten much sleep this week and you're just feeling exhausted. Il est vraiment épuisé cette semaine. Sometimes you're a special kind of tired. Comment dit-on hungover? Avoir la gueule de bois literally means to have the wooden face or the wooden mouth, and this translates to feeling hungover for those nights where you party a little too hard. Let's move on to emotions regarding others, or feelings that you may feel about other people. Fier, fier. This means to be proud of someone, and it's often used in the construction être fier de quelqu'un.
Je vais devenir peintre. Waouh, c'est génial. Non mais je suis trop fière de toi.
Perhaps the opposite, déçu, is used to say you're disappointed by something. And there are a few different ways you can construct sentences with déçu. If you're disappointed by someone, you can say j'étais déçu par ma sœur. And par is probably the most frequently used preposition with déçu. You can also say simply je suis déçu parce que. If you're using déçu with an infinitive verb, for example, if you were disappointed to lose the match, you can say j'étais déçu de perdre le match. And notice that par is used for nouns like ma sœur, whereas de plus an infinitive verb is used for verbs. Or you can just simply say j'étais vraiment déçu. Reconnaissant, reconnaissante, to be grateful. Hopefully you're feeling a little more positively about the people around you, and let's say your friend has really been giving you a helping hand, you may say je suis reconnaissante envers ma copine. Another way to construct a sentence with reconnaissant is to say je suis reconnaissant à ma mère de ses conseils. Jaloux, jalouse. Easy enough to remember, jaloux or jalouse means to be jealous. And notice that the feminine form actually changes the word a little bit. You drop the X and add an SE instead. If you're feeling really, really jealous, you may even express je suis jaloux comme un tigre.
T'es pas jaloux?
Non mais t'as cru que j'allais être jalouse de Philippe ou quoi?
As for our fun expression, we have casser les pieds à quelqu'un, which literally means to break someone's foot. Use this when someone's really getting on your nerves and driving you crazy.
Elle me divertit. Toi, tu me divertis pas. Toi, tu me casses surtout les pieds. Non, mais c'est vrai. Regarde mes pieds, comment ils sont cassés. Regarde l'état de mes pieds.
It's great to know how to express your own emotions, but it's also important to know how to check in with those around you. Ça va or tout va bien are both all-purpose expressions that are casual and very useful. Ça va comes off as a greeting when you first meet someone, but in the middle of a conversation, ça va or tout va bien are great check-in phrases. hey, is everything okay? It's funny because someone can totally respond with the same phrase back, ah oui, oui, ça va. Of course, there are other times when you're really looking in to check in with how someone's really feeling. In this case, you can use the phrase, tu te sens comment aujourd'hui? Or, comment vous sentez-vous aujourd'hui? In French, make sure you don't say tu es d'accord or vous êtes d'accord, because être d'accord actually means to agree with someone. It's not the same thing as saying are you okay in English. Qu'est-ce, qu'il is useful when someone has that look on their face and you know something's up. Want to learn even more emotion-related expressions and words? Check out the free PDF we have linked below on 34 emotion-related words, complete with translations and sample sentences. And if you want to continue building your French skills, check out our previous video on 7 French phrases to sound more like a native.